What up, guys? Today I want to debunk why the Reverse Flash is not actually immortal. A lot of people think that the Reverse Flash is immortal because he's a time paradox. They keep on saying, well, he cannot die, he cannot be killed because he's a time paradox. And I don't agree with that. I pointed out in a couple of my other videos before, mainly the death battle with the Reverse Flash versus Goku Black fight. They say that Reverse Flash was immortal and he cannot be killed, and that Dr. Manhattan destroyed him and that he came back and that makes him immortal. And I don't agree with that. He is not immortal. He actually had been killed in the comic books in a proper manner, and that was due to Iris West. She used this one gun that was had the ability to erase molecules, and she shot it at him, and it ended up erasing his molecules completely. Now he did come back into the story, but that wasn't due to the fact that he, was just able to revive himself. It was because of Barry Allen. Barry Allen actually went back in time and pulled out a different version of him throughout time from the time stream to help him. Now, this was happening in the Flash comics of 2016. It was issue number 752, or it started out in 751, but this is he comes back in 752. Now, what happened here was Flash was fighting against this new enemy called Paradox, who was against him, and he was working with Godspeed. Him and Godspeed were trying to take down Paradox because Paradox was blaming the Flash for messing up the multiverse and everything. And he said that the multiverse has been affected by you going back in time and changing things like in Flashpoint, and this has caused a lot of problems, and that since he's the problem, he needs to stop him, so he's trying to kill him. But his main goal was actually by killing the Flash and preventing him from any of the effects he's had throughout all the time in the multiverse, because he's a very important and very integral part of the DC cosmology, especially the multiverse and all these story events. Without the Flash, if he was to be killed back in time, which is his plan. He wants to go before Barry Allen got his powers and kill him so he doesn't get the Speed Force. But by doing that, that will have serious effects on the multiverse, and it would unleash this thing called Crisis Energy, which is also a part of the whole story, bigger story with the Metals event. When you go into the Batman Metals event, especially the Death Metal event, the Crisis Energy is actually very important. So this also does connect to the Heroes in Crisis story event, which is prior to the whole death metal event, and also leads into the Doomsday Clock event, which is also prior to that. So that has something to do with that. I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, he wanted to beat Paradox, and he can't beat him. Him and Godspeed both failed, and he's trying to find a way to beat him. He says, "Beating Paradox beat me. I never been taken down like that before. Nothing I did worked against him to stop him." But he thinks I'm trapped in that fake heaven. So he put him in another dimension where he tried to trap him in there, but the Flash was able to try to find a way to get out of there. He created a bunch of machines and stuff to use a cosmic treadmill so he can go through it and find the guy who was the only person who beat Paradox. He said, because Paradox is also from the future. He says, before Paradox banished me here, I heard Iris. She told me that there's only one man who has defeated Paradox. Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, the greatest enemy. His goal in life is to make sure I suffer. I would never work with him, but ever. But I need him to know how to beat Paradox. Iris killed him in the 25th century, so finding him won't be easy. It's not a matter of where; it's a matter of when. I haven't traveled through time in a while, so not since Wally and I commanded Cole told me that time travel was impossible, but that was before the Speed Force barrier was repaired and I was supercharged. So what is happening since he's fighting as Paradox and Paradox is too powerful for him? He did find out that Paradox is he's from the future, and he's actually from the same future that Eobard is from. Eobard actually beat him, so he needs his help, and to bring back Eobard so he can help him out to defeat Paradox because he can't do it alone on his own power. He tried it and it did not work out well. It failed, but he knows he can do it. And also, since Eobard's from the future, he has all this prior knowledge of what happened to the Flash in the past, so it would be easier for him too, in that case, right? So, but he's saying that the problem with this is Iris actually killed him. See, you can see right here, this happened a couple of other issues prior and story events prior. But he basically kidnapped Iris and took her into the future to get Flash to come there. He corrupted the Flash, and the Flash was fighting against him. And Flash was fighting against this corruption, and he was trying to get Flash to try to kill him. But Flash fought against this corruption, so she picked up a gun because he said, "Oh, well, if you're not gonna kill me, I'm just gonna keep on fucking with you until the end of time. I'm not gonna stop." So she's like, "I'm gonna stop you now." So she picked up this gun, which was like some matter thing, like an antimatter gun, I think, and she shot him with it and directly destabilized him and killed him completely. Now, the difference between what she did compared to what Dr. Manhattan did, which a lot of people point out, well, Dr. Manhattan's really powerful, and he is, but the problem with what Dr. Manhattan did was he didn't completely disintegrate or wipe out Eobard completely. He only destroyed the skin and his meat on his body, but the bones still survived, and with the bones enough, he was able to revive himself. So he is being a paradox does give him a lot of, benefits, and it does make him nearly unkillable, but it does not make him actually immortal because she actually genuinely killed him. You see as he completely is disintegrated by the gun, and Flash literally stated that he got killed and that he needs his help, but he can't just pick him from any place. He has to pick him through back in time. So he says time traveling is dangerous, and then he has to find Thawne, and then run from this point in time I risk can't create another paradox, another flashpoint, and then he has to go to find him, and he's gonna go find the reverse flash when he killed his mom and set up his dad. So he's going back to that time. So if he was truly immortal, he would not need to go back into a certain place in time to pick him out of there to ask him to help him. And then as he goes in, right, we see he's talking about all the moments that that they fought and they killed each other. And he says, Thon's winged blade pierced my back. Wally West tries to save me, but it's too late. I feel God's touch. My body disintegrates. Iris West shoots me from behind. I experience them all at the same time, but it doesn't matter because I'm always. So what is happening here is since the Flash went back in time, you can see right here, um, Reverse Flash, he's in this time bubble, and so what he's doing right here is trying to kill um Flash's mom, right? But once when the Flash goes back in time, this creates the breaking of the paradox. So now he remembers everything that happened, very even though he's like a past version of Zoom, he's still able to see all the events that happened after this because he's the paradox. So that's also another benefit. This doesn't make him immortal, but this means that if you go back in time like the Flash and come back into contact with him, he gets back all of his memories of what happened. And then he says, "Reborn is a mystery why I'm forever locked in the never-ending loop, a running dead man. But life is dedicated on one person who's just my idol." And see, this is what happens when Flash is going there. Eobard was a 25th century scientist obsessed with legend, and I only need to find him to stop Paradox from destroying time and space, and I can catch Thawne when he murdered my mother. But before I take a risk that's that great, I need to answer the problem is kill the 25th century. So yes, he directly states that he has to pick a specific time. It's not like where, if he was truly immortal and let's say she wiped his body out, he would be able to come back in some other way. Like, Merge Masu, when he came back in a, kind of like a non-physical form, an astral form that combined with the universe. So he would either come back in that way or somehow his physical body would be able to re-enter in the reality back completely. But the way he's doing it is he's going back in time to pull him out. That's not the same thing. It's like killing me right now, right? And then be like, damn, that was a bad decision to kill him. Let me go back in time and save him from being killed. That version of me back in time is not the same one that got killed. That same one is still dead. This is just a different one from, the past. So he goes into the future to try to find him, try to find out any information. He's getting attacked. He has to keep on going. He's getting attacked by the Captain Cold of the future. And then we see all this other stuff. And you just see Paradox doing his thing. So he goes back and he meets up with him. And now he's fighting against him. They're going back and forth. As they go back and forth, he's beating him up. And he says, "I'm here because of Paradox. And you're going to help me about everything about him, including how to stop him." Wait, Paradox escaped? Because when he beat him, he trapped him. So that was pretty much it. And then the rest is just them fighting and then like talking about, oh, we need to work together. You need to be by my side if you want to save the multiverse and all this shit, right? So this is important, right? Because people like to point out that, well, he came back from, Dr. Manhattan killing him and a couple other instances where he got killed. And that is true. He can come back from the dead. But the problem with this is the people who try to make it sound like he's immortal. Immortal means you cannot die at all. Or let's say there's different types of immortality, right? Doomsday has his immortality where he can come back to life, right? But even if you completely wipe Doomsday's physical body, he can come back another way. Whereas Flash, Reverse Flash, if you completely destroy his body, he cannot just come back anyway. And that's what happened in this comic book. Yes, did he come back? But it wasn't because he was able to revive himself like how he did with the Dr. Manhattan situation. The reason he came back was because of the Flash, where Barry Allen himself had to go back in time because of his desperation and pull him out of, the past to get him to help him. So this is a past version of him who's regained his memories of all the other events and everything else that happened afterwards, right? But this is not that same Zoom. That same Zoom died. The only thing that happened is his consciousness transferred into this one. The physical one died, but his consciousness transferred into this one, and it wouldn't have happened if Flash didn't go back in time. Now, I'm not going to go to this because this is way later in the story, and it's not necessary to for this point because I'm debunking, him being immortal. But this, in the end of the story, what happens is we find out that this was all planned out by Zoom. Since he is from the future, he knew what was going to happen with the Flash, and here he beat Paradox, and he knew about him fighting against Paradox, and then he also knew that Barry Allen was gonna pull him out of the time stream at some point and then bring him back anyway. So he was okay with dying. So some people might use that and say, well, that doesn't mean he's immortal, right? Because he was not gonna die no matter what, he was gonna come back. But that was only because he had future knowledge of the events that was happening prior, and that the Flash himself directly brings, Ebart back anyway. So it wasn't because he was immortal, it's just because he had future knowledge of the event and could set it up in a way where Barry Allen was able to bring him back anyway because he knew he couldn't come back physically himself. He needed Barry to do it. So yeah, this completely disproves that whole being a paradox makes you immortal. It does make you hard to kill and can help you revive from like a lot of damage. But if you completely like what Iris did, obliterate him to every last molecule, like what we see in Dragon Ball with Kid Buu, if you can completely disintegrate him, he will be dead unless you go back in time like the Flash did and bring him back out. So that's the only way. So technically, that would go against him being immortal and make him not immortal. So no, he is not immortal for that reason alone. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and stay tuned for next time.